giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Hip, hip. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday. The rookies have reported to camp, and today we'll recap that. We've got some player insights on rookie minicamp. We'll listen to a handful of players basically describe their first few days as the new pups. I was going to say with a star in their helmet, but technically they don't have a star now. They got to earn that star. So we'll take a listen to like 4 or 5 of the guys, and we'll also listen to Mike McCarthy on what he expects from the rookies during this weekend in preparation for next week. Good morning, Bomb Squad. How we doing?
Bomb Squad!
Good week, man. Good week to start all over and get into this Cowboys talk. Also in the roundup, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but we will hear from Stephen Jones. And I don't like that one. But he mentioned a contract situation, so we'll touch on that just a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, depending on how the show go, we'll also potentially listen into a couple audio clips from Coach Mike Zimmer. I kind of want to save this though for the rest of the week, but I don't know. There was some good stuff in there, and I might just unleash it today. We'll see how this thing goes. But how y'all doing this morning? I hope everything went well for you, your mothers, your significant others, your wives, your ladies during Mother's Day. Ours was great, nice and chill with the baby, with the wife, and we enjoyed it. So I hope you guys enjoyed your Mother's Day as well. All right, let's do this thing. Let's wrap this thing up and get into the roundup and talk about what these rookies we're talking about coming out of minicamp.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you!
Please don't throw tomatoes at your screen. Don't slam your phone. Don't cuss out your coworker, because Sky's about to talk about what Stephen Jones said. They spoke with him over the weekend. I'm not sure actually where. I don't know if this was just on a walk-off in a scrum, if he was on the radio somewhere, but we got some quotes from him, and they asked him about this CD Lamb contract situation. Y'all can't stand Steven. I can't either sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you. Most of the time. Anyway, so he was asked about the contract situation. Is there a concern? And if there's a timeline to get it done? And he said, quote, "Those things, there's no way to put a timeline on them. As I told y'all," and he said, "as per my last email. As I told y'all, they got their eyes on other players around the league too. I think these are big contracts and they usually don't get done in a hurry. But when they get moving, they move rapidly." Well, Steven, the Lions seem to get done in a hurry. The Eagles seem to get it done in a hurry. In fact, A.J. Brown has been paid twice since joining the Eagles. Twice. Devontae Smith, he got paid. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god in Detroit, got paid. Arguably top 3 wide receiver in the league, still waiting. This is just what they do, though. At this point, I can see the Cowboys dragging this thing out because they don't really care about opening up cap space. That ship has sailed. If you wanted to open up cap space, you would have got this done in January, February, March, whatever, before free agency. So now I think for them, it's about getting the better end of the deal. And if they don't, they'll just play it out. Maybe I'm a bit too optimistic on a couple of these contract situations. My guess, this will get done when CD Lamb reports. I think the talks will heat up, but the longer they wait, I think the more expensive he'll be if other guys go ahead of him. So again, I might just be a little bit too optimistic on these contract situations. I expect them to get done. I do heading into the season, but then I look at the history. I look back at when Amari Cooper was here, they traded a first round pick for Coop. Coop goes out, puts up Pro Bowl numbers, goes to the Pro Bowl, and they still let Amari Cooper hit free agency. Now, Coop wasn't one of their own, even though they traded a high first round pick. So there is that tie to CD where he's one of their own. But also, Coop was never in the top 3 discussion, maybe top 3 route runner, but CD Lamb's top 3 discussion, period, in the wide receiver conversation. So I don't think there needs to be much thinking here. It's just a matter of, okay, let's go ahead and get this thing done. If it's resetting the market, it's resetting the market. Let's long-term contract so we can spread the monies out and help our team. Look, man, I'm not in that room. I don't understand their thinking. They feel like they can wait this thing out and it'll benefit them. I disagree. I think if you would have got this done last year, you wouldn't be in this situation. And you would have had more cap space. So I won't fall for it. Neither should you, Cowboys Nation. What do the Joneses do during a typical day? Couldn't tell you, brother. AG, my apologies. I just trying to share the information to you guys and give you my thoughts on it. Look, I'm still optimistic. I think this thing gets done. How can it not? Look at CD Lamb's resume. First 3-4 years in the league. I mean, that's an all-time first 4 seasons, right? At least for the Cowboys, I know it is. My bad, y'all. My bad. Let's go ahead. Let's change it. Let's change it and let's talk about these rookies. All right, let me do that for y'all. We can discuss other aspects of CD Lamb. If you want to call into the show, by the way, here you go. If you want to call into the show, you can 351-999-3787, and we can discuss whatever it is you want to discuss. My apologies. Let's fast forward though to the Cowboys and rookie minicamp. Here's the thing about rookie mini. I saw this, and I'm not sure who it was. Apologies. I just scrolled real fast, and it said something like winners, losers of Cowboys rookie minicamp. How do you come out of this past weekend with winners and losers? They didn't really do a ton. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't get a chance to even see a lot of it. Now, shouts out to the Cowboys for providing this type of stuff here, but there's a lot of shells and walkthroughs and not really much going. They didn't even have enough players to have a full starting offensive line. They had to roll out 4 offensive linemen. But hey, man, listen, that's wrong for me. I ain't trying to show nobody's content. I just find that strange. Like winners and losers. How do we even get to that? Now, maybe next week, right? When the veterans report and we're officially at OTAs and we'll be able to know more because the media's there, it's open and things like that. But this, tough for me. But let's listen to what Coach Mike McCarthy said this weekend is really for.
So we're really trying to expose them to the type of drills that we're going to do when the veterans that they move in with the veterans on Monday, because next week we'll still have phase 2 work where we won't be in helmets. So we feel like we've accomplished that Thursday night and Friday. So today we're going to actually do a normal, as much as we can with the numbers, practice format so they can see the evolution of what's going to come at them come OTAs.
That's basically what it's for. It's essentially to get these guys prepared for when the veterans arrive and they're not behind the 8 ball too much. I heard a coach from a different team, and I'm pretty sure the Cowboys may do it this way too. What coach was it? I can't remember who it was, but they essentially said, "Hey, look, man, we're trying to give them. Oh, it was Vic Fangio. We're trying to throw everything at them, essentially overwhelm them right now, so we can see what they can handle. Because once the veterans get here, we're not gonna have time to hold your hand, because now our program begins to get better for the upcoming season. There will be time for development on the side, individual coaches training after and before practice and working with your position coach. But once these guys get here, I can't hold your hands. So I feel like this weekend, and I know former players can attest to it more, it is more about giving them a preview, a taste of what they're going to get when the veterans get here. And with all that said, though, these players still individually go through things outside of the structure that affect them, and we're going to listen to, I think, like 5 players speak on their first week. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the very first one. And that first one being the Cowboys' first round pick, Tyler Guyton. They asked Tyler Guyton a lot of things, by the way, and at the end of this, I'll mention it. Really enjoy listening to this kid. But they asked Tyler Guyton when he started the transition to left tackle and then, working with Duke Manyweather. Here he goes.
Ever since I heard in the pre-draft process that I was going to be switching to left tackle from a bunch of teams, that's immediately what I started working on. So coming out here today was extremely smooth for me because I've been doing it week in and week out, training with Duke Manyweather across the street ever since I got here a couple weeks ago. So it's been pretty good for me. It was really cool because, he works with a lot of the guys on the O-line here, and going over there, I got to meet a couple of them and putting some work in with them and learn a couple things here and there. And his techniques are very similar to Coach Solari's because they work hand in hand.
I thought that was interesting. Hearing him say the techniques that Duke is teaching is similar to Solari's because they're working together. You'll hear that again come up here in a few minutes. But I don't think that's something to scoff over. And it's a good thing. I think it's an advantage, the advantage of having Duke Manyweather here as close as he is to the Cowboys.
Sometimes, and he's just a great coach all around. And going over there, he has an extremely pro approach to what he does, and he takes no bullshit, and we have fun. I mean, just doing everything that I can to be a professional, doing the things that off the field that really matter, watching film and studying my playbook and taking care of my body and being a pro about everything that I do. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get to work, bro. You can sit at home for 2 weeks or you can get to work. I mean, everybody was definitely putting in work. I can tell by the seriousness and intensity the guys were moving with out there, but I'm 2 hours away from Austin, Texas, so that's where I was, and I just wanted to get up here early and get acclimated.
Man, look, I know it's just interviews at this point, but I feel like we can trust Tyler Guyton to put in that work to get the best out of his game. You know what I mean? That's what makes me really believe in his long-term future. We did the rankings, right? The ratings of the draft. Long-term future, I gave him 4 stars because honestly, a lot of it had to do with the mental, the work ethic. Does he want to be great? Does he have the drive? That's the type of stuff I just don't know until you get here and we can listen to these guys and you dig a little further and you get some more dirt on them. Not dirt, but you get some more information on them. And we'll see what happens in year 1 for the rookie offensive lineman. I try not to put too much expectations on these guys. This is a different ball game up here. But beyond that, man, I think this kid is going to be he has a potential, I should say. I ain't going to make any stamps right now, but he has a potential to be a rock on that left side for a while. But I enjoy listening to him. I know we won't hear from him a whole lot after camp starts. Well, maybe a little bit during camp because offensive linemen don't get a lot of the love, But a lot of people change their mind when they heard Tyler Smith, or it helped at least, speak. And I think that's happening with Tyler Guyton. You hear it, you feel it, right? You feel that he wants to be that guy. Another guy that's like that is Cooper Beebe. And, Cooper Beebe is an interesting dude because he looks like a big teddy bear when he's just talking to the media. It seems so nice. Then you put on the film, and the dude is, I mean, you got people calling him the Hawk and Juggernaut and all these other things, and he plays like that. But here's Cooper Beebe on when he started to work at center and the differences between center and guard in the league.
Yeah, so right after draft, Coach Solari called me and said, start working on center. So ever since then, I mean, I've been working on my snaps, that kind of thing, and doing different Zoom calls and stuff before this just to get ready and just preparing myself, doing the stuff at home just to get ready to, make sure I know my stuff. I think the biggest thing, honestly, is just being able to run the entire offense. As center, you got to be the one to make the calls. So, it's your job to, call the fronts, call the ID. So I think that's just the biggest difference.
That was interesting. The biggest difference, he didn't even mention like the physical aspect. You know why? Because he probably like, man, I ain't worried about that. I'm gonna be dirting people whether I'm playing center or whether I'm playing guard. But he's right. I've never played center, but if I had to guess, I think the biggest difference is definitely what he said. Having to identify the defense and kind of being the extension of the quarterback. It's a big task. It's a huge responsibility. And I'm glad he had mentioned, hey, immediately, as soon as I was drafted, Solari said, hey, get out there and work at center. And there was another point in this conversation where Cooper Beebe was like, they said, hey, well, what were you doing? Who were you snapping to? He said, man, I was out there snapping to my mama, my daddy, my brother, whoever was out there. I was putting in that work to try to make sure I got here and I wasn't behind the 8 ball. Fortunately for him, he was working with Duke as well, and he actually spoke about that.
Yeah, so I trained there for pre-combine stuff, and we have a great relationship. I think he done a tremendous job getting me prepared for this level, so I'll definitely be working out with him. I just think his knowledge and just how technical and how much he understands the game, I think that was the biggest part going there, was just learning more about the game so I can play that much faster. And then, when it comes to technique, just, making it more fluid and just more crisp on that kind of thing.
Does he want what Solari wants, or are they all kind of?
Yeah. So he works out with a lot of the Cowboys guys. So his philosophies coordinate with here.
There it is. You heard him again. I'll bring it. I think it's interesting, and I know. Shouts out to Vach. I would love for him to get Duke back on again to kind of have this conversation a little bit more here. This is an advantage that not many teams have, right? Where the trainer is literally right next door to the team and works that specific position, right? Offensive line, meeting with the offensive line coach. He doesn't work for the Cowboys, and I think that actually gives the Cowboys advantage. And here's why. A lot of people always ask this, Cowboys Nation, well, why doesn't Duke Manyweather become an offensive line coach? First of all, the dude has a booming business. Number one, he's an entrepreneur. He has a booming business in helping out these offensive linemen. Number two, once you become a coach, now you have to follow the rules of the NFL. You can't work with these guys outside. Duke doesn't want to do that. Duke loves working with these young guys and getting them, putting them in, not even just young guys, veterans, working with these offensive linemen to make them better and hone in on their craft. And you can't do it as a coach. But the Cowboys got a nice little loophole. His facility that he uses is across the street. He has a relationship that is a professional relationship with the Cowboys and the offensive line coach. And there's nothing against the rules that says Coach Solari can't say, hey, this is the type of run game we're doing. This is the type of pass game we're doing. We like for this player to work on this. We like for this combo right side to all these little small things Duke can do. So technically he can work on Cowboy things right after practice or right before practice or during the season. And it's not a contradiction to what another coach wants to do. And the reason I think it's a big deal, I used to coach, right? And shouts out to my guy, Shane. But like the way Shane did things, he was a head coach. I was an assistant coach. And to coach basketball, AAU. I basically ran what he wanted to run because he's the head coach. But then you got players coming to you and like, man, coach, I ain't feeling this, or how can I? And you show them things on the side, but you don't want to contradict what the head coach is saying. So you have to walk that fine line. With Duke, last year, he had brought up a concern. He said, hey, man, I'm seeing the way, or I'm hearing, let me say this, the way they're teaching guys how to do things, and he didn't agree with it. Next offseason, Duke's talking to Mike Solari. Maybe they're on the same page, and now he's going into these trainings able to help out these guys a little bit more. Maybe this happened last year. I don't know. But I do like the fact that these guys are able to work together outside of the organizational structure because it gives the Cowboys an advantage that I don't think many other teams have. You know? Well, not necessarily the head coach, Tom. I'm talking about this situation here. For those who have played sports at any level, you can attest to this, I'm sure. Right? You had one coach, maybe you liked him, maybe you didn't, doesn't matter, who was teaching you something, and maybe it was working or not. But you had another coach who was saying, well, tweak it. Get your elbow in tight, jab step, whatever it may be. And it works. So now you favor more to this coach and what he says as opposed to this guy here, Mike Solari. We don't want that division week in, week out. So I'd much rather these guys come together and get on the same page. So I'm saying. Stephen Jones, again, my bad, y'all. I didn't mean to bring him up. But Stephen Jones also talked about Cooper Beebe, and he said it was something along the lines of asking him, center, guard, things like that. And Stephen Jones was like, hey, if we wanted him to play guard, that's where he'd be starting out at, guard. But they want him and need him at center. So it looks like he has the leg up to be the starting center. For me, that's day one. I'm not even thinking about it, but it's kind of contradictory because, yeah, you want to have competition. I think off the bat, he's going to come in here and be better than Brock Hoffman. That's all I'm saying. So I think he has the leg up. They got to go out there and earn it, though. But that's exactly what Stephen Jones was talking about. He's going to be in competition with Brock Hoffman, but center, it looks like he's the guy. All right? This next guy, we're going to talk more about him tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, on Rating the Draft. Excited to talk about him. Cornerback Kaylin Carson. Now, these next few clips, fairly short clips, but these are what stuck out to me when listening to these players speak. They asked Kaylin Carson about his versatility and where he felt most comfortable at, and this is what he had to say.
I think I could cover. Feel like it don't really matter for me. I feel comfortable like anywhere on the field, like in say like not corner, nickel, and like anything, defensive back. Like I think I can cover anywhere, so I feel comfortable.
I don't know. That's just one clip. There was a lot. They asked him. They talked to him about tackling and other things. I'm saving that for tomorrow. We'll dive into a little bit more tomorrow with Kaylin Carson. But I wanted to just briefly bring that up because, he just has this aura about him, this confidence that doesn't seem fake. And I hate to bring up this other dude because it felt fake, right? Our former second round pick. Rapping, that dude. It didn't feel real to me. And I know this is so early, right? We ain't even go out there. He gonna get torched at camp at some point and it'll go viral. It'll be on FS1 somewhere and whatever. But I don't know. I watched the kid, his film. You see him out there, his demeanor. It just, am I tripping? But it just feels, man, where am I comfortable at? Man, anywhere you put me. I can cover. They even asked him, and I disagree a little bit, but they asked him, is there any difference between the slot? And he's like, nah, for real, no. I said, why not? He said, because regardless, you're going to have to cover somebody. Ooh, I like his confidence. I like his confidence, man. And I think he's going to fit. I think he's going to fit this Mike Zimmer scheme. We'll get into a little bit more about that, but, they're going to ask, there's going to be so many different things they're going to ask of these corners, which is why when I think of Zim, there's a little bit of Vic Fangio and there's a little bit of the defensive coordinator over there, Spags in Kansas City. There's a little bit of that. And what they rely on is heady, instinctive corners. And while he doesn't have the crazy ball production, you can see that clickability we talk about, right? That click and go. But anyway, man, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves on Kaylin Carson. But, man, tomorrow I'm excited to talk a little bit more about him and where he may fit and how he may get an opportunity. Will the Cowboys strike again in the 5th round with the corner? They seem to, these DBs over the last, 2024, 7 years. I'm gonna name a couple names, don't kill me, but they've turned into starters and they've been productive at some point. But you got like Xavier Woods, Donovan Wilson, Anthony Brown, Deron Bland. These are all day 3, 5th, 6th round type guys that have come in and turned into starters. I think this kid might be next, and I'm not going too crazy about what he may do next year because he's going to be in a competitive room. I think it'll take him beating, a veteran or an injury, but I just like his demeanor. That's all I'm saying. Breaking news. Hold on, Foot's breaking news. I got you. Hey, Scott, we got breaking news. Corners got to cover no matter what. I feel you, dog. I feel you. Before we get to, I think there's 2 more guys I want you guys to hear from. Let's hit the phone lines real quick and talk to our bishop of this thing, Bishop Kane. What's good, Bishop Kane?
All right, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How you?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Hope your family had a good Mother's Day. And
you as well,
man.
You as well.
Right on, right on. I ain't got too much to say. Just want to say, man, I liked that. I really did enjoy that Tyler Guyton interview, man. It feels good to hear him speak. You know what I'm saying, with confidence and intelligence. You know what I'm saying, and knowing it take a man to know your weaknesses, identify them, and work on them. And I really like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how Tyler Smith was that rookie year. It's like, even if he had a bad half, he come back after halftime looking like a new player because he don't let you hit him with the same move twice. He don't fall for the same thing twice. One thing that stood out about Tyler Smith's rookie year was, like, he was learning on the job, but you could see the learning. You could, like, if he missed one rep, the next rep he coming back hard. Like,
well, what was interesting? Work. I mean, interrupt you because was he learning? I mean, sure, he's always learning because you're young, but he already played left tackle. He played left tackle in college, so left tackle wasn't foreign to him. What I thought was impressive was the fact that he didn't play left tackle all offseason. He was practicing at guard, then they moved him out, and then they said, well, let's see what you got at guard. So they moved him back at guard, then they moved him back at tackle. Him being back and forth and being able to handle it and not be overwhelmed was so impressive to me. That's why I graded his rookie year on a curve. I didn't just look at statistically. I looked at the film, the good, the bad, and said, look, his situation to me is why I think you should be, impressed with this rookie season. But you have people that was like, 8 sacks and penalties, and he's I don't want to say bust, but it didn't work out, and now look at him. You don't see him around anymore because they don't like to come and talk about their losses, only their wins.
Right on. But, yeah, that's really all I had for the show. Hey, and I was going to ask you if you can leave me on the conference this music because I really be listening on my headphones.
I got you, brother.
I appreciate it, Scott. Hey, how about the Mavericks too, though, man? Hold up, man. Hold it down for the seat, though.
Hey, look, I told you I'm adopted the Mavericks as a now not native, but as a resident of the Dallas area. So I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them to get all the way to this chip, man, because I think, if the Cowboys, if the Mavericks and Rangers can have parades, maybe we could just rub some of that off of the Cowboys, man. And hold up now. And the Stars. And the Stars. But look, this is what I said. And one more thing. This is what I said when I moved down here. How come when I moved down here, the Mavs go to the Western Conference Finals, the Stars goes to the Western Conference Finals, the Rangers win a World Series, but the Cowboys can't do shit? I just don't understand. Man. I thought I was the good luck charm, man. It's kind of pissing me off a little bit.
I've been alive 29 years. I done seen all of our teams but the Cowboys do something. So join the club, brother.
Oh, man. All right, man. Appreciate you, Bishop K. I'll leave you on mute here so you can listen to the show. Let's get 860 real quick before we move on. What's good, 860? Turn down your house. Turn down your house. What's good, 860? Brother. 860, you live, man.
Oh, Scott, I got you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, Scott, this is Anthony G. I've been following you, Voch, for about a year now.
Bro. You have.
Wanted to give y'all props. Now, I grew up a Cowboys fan, but y'all really took it to the next step for me, and I appreciate that. A couple quick things. What do you see right now as the biggest camp battle?
Ooh, I can't wait to get into camp battles. The biggest camp battle. Let's see. Ooh, linebacker 2. I think linebacker 2 could be a really intense camp battle because, look, I think Clark de facto LB2, like I said last week, but I don't think that's like a given, you know. You listen to Mike Zimmer talk about Maris Leofau. He loves that kid. You got DeMarvion Overshown. I think he's got a little bit more pop to him than Clark, and he hasn't been infested by the previous regime at the linebacker spot. So I think Clark, Overshown, and Maris Leofau, that's going to be a heated competition right there.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with that. And now another question: Do you see with Mike's lack of being able to adjust, do you see a scheme change to go along with the run game, go along with drafting these dudes, like Beebe, like Guyton? Do you think that that's feasible or makes sense?
I'm hopeful, brother. I'm hopeful. I think coaches like that, and all coaches are a bit stuck in their ways in a sense. I'll give Mike credit in the sense that he saw last year what wasn't working and kind of altered it a little bit by the time he got to that Chargers game. However, I personally don't think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Mike really puts a huge emphasis on the run game or the scheme. I think if you listen to him, he'll talk a big game about running, but he really won't go into detail. But when you listen to him talk about the pass game, oh man, we don't like option routes. It's about the progression, the feet. He gets really excited because that's where he comes from. So right now, May 13th, I don't believe there will be a schematic change, but that doesn't mean I don't think that you won't be able to be a little bit better in certain areas in the run game because you have some hosses up there, right? You throw in Cooper Beebe at center. I know Tyler Guyton's not the run blocking guy, but I would imagine being in that room, he'll get a little bit better at that. So, and he's more athletic, so now you can pull him, get him outside where you couldn't really do that as much a lot with the previous guy. And look, I love Tyron, but from a run game department, he wasn't the same guy. Pass game, he ain't going to touch Tyron. Run game, I think the kid has a chance to do at least what Tyron did last year. So I don't think there's going to be a scheme change, but I think they could be better in certain areas given the guys that got up front and behind them, more power. So you're talking about being better in the goal line situations. But will we see a full-fledged, wide zone type of situation, a full-fledged pre-snap stuff? Nah, I don't think we're going to see anything different unless they show me something different at camp, brother.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And then last thing.
Jeff Kavanaugh in the building. Hold on. Shouts out to the homie Jeff in the building. Waking up early, joining me, man. How you doing, Jeff? Anyway, go ahead. My bad. That's my guy. He was the first dude to welcome me to his home when I came down here, like the very next day. We'll forever have a special place in my heart with Jeff. Anyway, Law Nation in the building too. God damn, what's going on, man? Heavy hitters in the building. Apologies. Go ahead.
Hey, shout out to teams. No, it's all good. It's all good. Last thing. Do you have a list or at least a couple of running backs that would make sense or at least, Catboy criteria for us to trade for, not necessarily after team cuts and all that, just to actually trade for? I mean,
AG, if I could show you, look, I got this thing on my phone where I have notes where things pop in my head so I don't forget. I literally have a segment or a show prepared for y'all. Not prepared, but getting ready for y'all about exactly that. So hold tight. I don't know if it'll be this week. Maybe it'll be next week. Maybe it'll be during the break. When I say break, when they leave. But I definitely am going to put together a list of names and obviously give y'all backgrounds and film and things like that. So I got something for you.
That's what's up. I appreciate it, brother. Again, you do great work. I appreciate it, and I'll continue watching.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Hey, real quick, as I bring up Jeff calls in. What's good, my man?
Hello, Skywalker Steel.
How are you, sir? It's good to hear your voice.
I'm good. How do you know who it is?
Well, it's this little thing called a caller ID. And
okay.
I know boomers don't know nothing about it, but yeah.
I'm an old man. I thought I could do bits, and you wouldn't know who it was. I thought I could do fun stuff.
You can't get it past me, brother. But you can do your Jerry bit all you want. I love that, by the way.
All right, Sky, and I did, and I will, and it's good to talk to you. I had a question for you. I did, Sky, and I do, and I will, and I'm gonna ask it now. If you could pick, you remember last year's draft when we had the worst draft ever of all time? Remember when we did that, Sky?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do, Jerry.
Okay. If I told you, I promised you, and I do, and I'm going to, and I tell you that one of them guys is going to be super good at football this year. Which one do you think it might be, and also which one would you want it to be?
Well, Jerry, I think the answer is the same. Cooper Beebe. I think he's going to be the one, and I want him to be the one because then he'll help the offensive line. Don't you agree, Jerry?
Well, I do, but I was asking about the guys from last year. I wanted to know which one you thought might be worth a damn. Is what I wanted to know, maybe.
That's a good one, Jerry. I think you stumped me here. I want to say Mozzie, Jerry, but y'all put him on the Ozempic.
Steven, I just wanted to tell you that 365 days a year is when we acquire talent.
Oh, no, Steven, now I got a bone to pick with you now. Let me tell you something, Steven. You always say 365, but it feel like it's 55 days out of the year. What's up with that?
Well, outside of spring break now. It's spring break. We got to go with the family.
Apologies.
All right?
Yeah.
All right, Sky, I love you. I just wanted to say hi.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Love you too, man.
All right, love you.
Talk to you later. Can we get flames in the chat? Nobody does the Jerry Jones impression better than Jeff Kavanaugh. I would love for Jeff, a ghost, right? Somebody that's. I would love for Jeff to set something up to where he can get on the horn with Jerry. Like, all right, I'm gonna let y'all into some shenanigans I used to do back in the day. Back in the day, we played pranks. Like, we call somebody, put them on hold, and call somebody else. Then unlock the phone, and now they back. Who's this? You call me. That's what you do when you're bored and you ain't have the internet like that. So I would love for somebody to do that with Jeff Kavanaugh and Jerry Jones. Just call Jerry. Hold on, Jerry, 1 second. And then call Jeff Kavanaugh, put them on the phone. Oh, man, and record it. Jeff, can we make that happen? Anyway, if we can't make that happen, make sure you go check out Jeff Kavanaugh on YouTube. Jeff Kavanaugh, that's his YouTube channel. Studio Day Heffery, Hefe, whatever you want to call it. Go check him out. I think he brought us on last week. I didn't know that. I would have spammed that in the chat, and I thought you said you had somebody. Is it Vach? You got Vach today? Maybe, not sure. Either way, let him know in the chat, Jeff. Appreciate you, big dog. We got two more guys to listen to, y'all. The next one is the Cowboys' 7th round pick, Justin Rogers, right? And they asked Justin Rogers, where can you help the Cowboys? And why the hell is it stopping the run?
Obviously, the Cowboys had trouble stopping the run. How can you help them? Is that your forte?
That's what I do best. Stop the run, especially clogging the middle up. So that's why they brought me in here.
Is it a mindset? What is that?
You just gotta have that mindset. You just gotta have that switch. When you out there on that field, you gotta make sure nobody ain't running through that middle.
Hey, that's all we need you to do, big dog. That's all I care about in regards to what you need to do on that field for the Cowboys in 2024. And the reason why I'm so specific about what I'm saying here is because last year, that's not all they wanted Mozzie Smith to do. And, as I'm thinking about this, hold on, let me talk to you real quick. Bear with me. I'm trying to put these thoughts together appropriately. So let me start backwards. Y'all remember when the Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons? And Jerry Jones, and this is documented, apparently in that room, they asked Dan, we don't want to just draft a linebacker. Can you get some pass rush out of this guy? Dan said, absolutely. 100%. Now, they stumbled into that. At the time, your pass rushers, your defense ends was D-Law, Randy Gregory. Both of them got hurt. Mike had to step up. The rest is history. The reason why I bring this up is because Mozzie Smith last year, clearly a nose tackle, clearly a run stopper. Film shows it, all that. Was he an athletic freak? Did he have upside to rush the passer maybe as he developed? Sure. But I wonder if in that room, Jerry said, well, can we get him to rush the passer? Or somebody said that. And Dan said, yeah, absolutely. We got you. We can do that. And I do wonder if they try to speed that process up as opposed to saying, we just need you to defend the run right now and we'll work on the pass rush as we move on. I don't think they'll do that with Justin Rod. Number one, he's a 7th round pick. Number one. Number two, Mike Zimmer is a totally different animal when it comes to the run defense. And it's so crazy how this works. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this up, but guess what? I'm bringing it up. I want to play this video for y'all. Bear with me. Of Mike Zimmer. It's actually a video / audio discussing run defense and why I believe things will definitely be different in how they prepare.
So we're really trying to expose them to the type of...
I don't want to talk to you, Mike. I want to talk to the other Mike Zimmer. So let me pull this up. Bada bing, bada boom. Let me see here. No, we don't want that one, y'all. We don't want that one. No, we don't want that one either. Give me a second. I want to pull this up. I want y'all to listen to this. Maybe I could just listen to it. Yeah. That's what we'll just listen to it. How about that? Here we go. You ain't got to see nothing. Ain't nothing to see.
Is there a real focus on the run defense, which seemed to be the thing that cost Dallas at the end of the year?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember back when I was my first game as a coordinator, we played the Eagles opening day, and it was the pickle juice game.
Yeah, I remember that.
The onside kick the first game. And that year, I was coming from secondary coach and said, hey, turn these guys loose, let them rush. And we gave up 220 yards rushing that day. So from that day on, there's always been an emphasis on stopping the run.
I love Zim. Zim said, y'all mother ran all over me back in 1999. And from that day on, I said, never happening again. I will emphasize stopping the damn run. That's the type of dude we got running defense now. Not, no offense to Dan. Dan, he changed things for the Cowboys. Hat tip, do your thing, whatever. But it was a totally different mentality for Dan. Totally different mentality. Mike said, hey, we got to earn the right to rush the passer. Mike Zimmer is saying, wait, before any of that, we got to stop this run. Dan might have heard what Mike McCarthy was saying, but I don't think he ever really cared to develop stopping the run. When I say develop, Bohanna, gone. Big Country, gone. Mozzie, we need you to get on the Ozepic. And he's now down weight and trying to rush the passer. And it just never really seemed like they cared about it. Where this dude, take a listen.
And, again, I think you can go back through the time when I was from here all the way through Minnesota that we've put a major emphasis on the run game and it being a priority to do that in order to rush the passer.
We're putting a priority. Or he's put a priority on the run game so that they can rush the passer. I do think that is the difference between the two. I think that's what you're going to see. And as for Justin Rogers, look, man, he's a 7th round pick. I'm not putting a ton of expectations on this kid. I feel like they still have to go back out there in free agency and make a move to bring in a veteran. We talk often about Calais Campbell. I would even settle for Linval Joseph, y'all. And not because, well, a little bit because I'm desperate, but having a veteran in that room that is going to do exactly what Justin Rogers is going to do is huge. Funny thing, I didn't bring it up in the clip. You can go watch it for yourself. By the way, all these clips, courtesy of DallasCowboys.com. They said, well, who do you study in this league? He brought up Quinnen Williams. He brought up Raekwon Davis. Y'all know who else he brought up? Quentin Bohanna. Oh, that's so interesting to me. Part of me wishes Bo and Big Country was here under Zimmer. I think I think those guys would have got a lot more out of their game with Mike Zimmer. All right, let's get to the last one here. And this one is from, in my opinion, the favorite UDFA. When I say favorite, I mean to make the roster. There could be a couple, but I feel like this guy has a huge chance barring any type of injury. Here we go. Brevin Spann-Ford. They asked him, hey, what is the greatest strength that you have that you could bring to the Cowboys? And this is what he said.
I would definitely say my physicality. But along with that, my versatility, being able to, move guys off the line of scrimmage, but being able to make plays in the pass game as well.
That's it. Real quick. It wasn't long, but it was impactful. And I think he has himself spot on. Yeah. He is a physical player in both the run game and after the catch. We talked about him a few weeks ago. And part of me thinks that he probably should have had an even bigger segment on the show, because I feel like, given the situation in the tight end room, given his skill set, his size, his ability, he has a huge chance here to make this team. And I've seen people across the internet say, well, man, I don't know. This is a deep room. This is a tough room to crack. Is it though? Is it really? Jake Ferguson is Jake, so you have him. Schoonmaker ain't going nowhere because he's second round pick. I get it. But after that, what's so tough about it to crack? They was all but ready to get Hendo up out of here last year until John Stevens Jr. tore his ACL. What about John Stevens Jr., Scott? Oh yeah, he's 100% a factor as well. But what they have, I think, the ace up their sleeve for John Stevens Jr. is, look, you already came in slight last year, tore your ACL. We could easily hit you with a, hey, John, how's that ankle feeling? Or how's that knee feeling? Hey, I'm good, coach. No. Let me ask you again. How's that knee feeling? Well, I mean, it's still IR. Period. And they can just throw him on IR. I don't think you're missing anything if he doesn't play this year. With all due respect to John Stevens Jr. But with Brevin Spann-Ford, immediately he comes in, he's going to be a better blocker. I don't think there's just this drop-off as a receiver either, even though he didn't have a whole lot of receiving prowess out of college. He scored some touchdowns for sure, but his last year, that a lot of what he did as a receiver in 2022 took a huge hit. But I think there's a lot of upside to this kid to, at the very least, make the roster as the last tight end. If they run with four, definitely fourth for sure. But I can see him playing his way to being the third tight end, Cowboys Nation. And I don't think that is absurd. I don't. Think about this. Sean McEwen, Peyton Hendershot, John Stevens Jr., they always look at an undrafted free agent tight end and say, it's your shot. Blake Jarwin. We can go back to Blake Jarwin. And they give those guys a shot. Now, whether they'll make the initial 53 or I don't know. If he shows some, we did this with John Stevens, but they put him on IR. If he shows something in preseason and they say we're going to put you on the wire, this league is starved, I think, for these types. So I don't know. Maybe he makes it. It's always a guy who say, hey, he's not going to make it through. If he shows out, it's going to be tough. But if he shows out, why even put Peyton Hendershot out there? I digress. Yeah, he had a lot of drops last year. His drops last year totaled more than he had his previous career. So I do wonder if this off year in regards to that. I think he had like 9 drops. Before that, I think he had a total of 5. The previous 3 or 4 years he was in college. So I wonder if he just had an off year. But I was impressed with his ability to catch in traffic. You know, that was one thing coming out for Schoonmaker. He was not a great guy, you know, catching contested catches. Shouldn't be a problem with this dude. 6'7", crazy wingspan, huge hands, strong hands. I know that sounds like an oxymoron because he was dropping passes, but when it feels like, I guess when it's harder, he's coming down with these catches. And then after the catch, it's night and day, you know, compared to Schoon when it comes to night and day. I think Schoon is more nuanced at the position, but I don't know. Forever span forward, I don't think it's going to take him long. And we know Mike loves tight ends. Yeah, he had 9 drops last year, Chris. That's a lot of drops. Whole lot of drops. Let's get to 870. What it do, 870?
What up, Ace? What up, Skywalker? This OT Josh.
What's good? OT Johnson?
Yep, lock me. OT Josh.
Oh, OT Josh. I don't know if you said OG, like OG Bobby Johnson, or OT Josh.
Hey, I wanted to hit on some stuff that wasn't really about the rookies.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right, one thing I really wanted to hit on. With the running back room, everybody keeps talking about the running backs. We need a better running back, this and that. But I'm wondering, what's the difference between these running backs and the running backs that the Patriots had from 2015 until 2020 when they were in like 3 or 4 Super Bowls?
Well, I have to go look
they
at their
had Sony
room.
Michel, they had Deion Lewis, they had LeGarrette Blount, that was basically it. They had a fullback, and none of those guys rushed for 1,000 yards. I mean, why don't you just say, all right, one of y'all is the power back, one of y'all is a speed, and one of y'all is going to catch screens and catch passes out of the backfield?
I mean, you can say that, but who's the cat from the Super Bowl? James White. We don't have a James White back there right now. We don't have a Tom Brady combination scheme with Josh McDaniels. So we don't have that. So, I mean, you could just look at the room and compare room to room, but that's, I don't want to use that word because that'd be a bit disrespectful. But I think it's short-sighted.
Not even just the room, but I'm saying, like, why don't you just go out
you
and
compared
set
the
it up
room,
that
though.
way?
You said, what's the difference between the rooms? I mean, there's technically player differences. If you want to talk about power backs, there's power backs here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
But
it's beyond player differences, though.
Acquisitions, why don't they go and acquire something like that if they're having, trouble getting the running backs?
So, all right, so I'm a bit confused because you started off with saying, well, people are saying, why don't they go get, people are saying we need to go get this, we need to go get that, but what's the difference? And then you came back to saying, yeah, they should go out and get players.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
I agree with that. I still think they should be looking, and from all intents and purposes, they are still looking. But if just sticking to what you said about the Patriots and the Cowboys room, I do think there are some differences between the players, but beyond that, they had a plan, bro. Right? Like, didn't the Patriots have a plan?
I agree with that. There's the difference in the players, but I'm saying the way you attack it, the way you try to set it up, create a scheme, and then create a way to get each of these guys the ball in a different way.
Right. So to answer your own question, or you just said it, that is the difference. You have one team who has a plan, a scheme, a deliberate way of using each individual to their greatest skill set, and then you got the Cowboys, who, and we'll see how they use these guys.
That's something McCarthy is developing, or is that something he wants to get to doing?
What stopped them from doing it last year?
I feel like maybe they tried to do that last year in the first couple games, but the scheme is sucked. Do you think the scheme is going to be improved at all or changed in any way?
Yeah, we talked about this earlier with another caller. Right now, May 13th, I can't sit here and tell you confidently the scheme is about to change. So it's going to be about the horses in front of them and then how McCarthy dials it up. Now they have openly come out and been way more vocal that this will be a committee approach. They've never been this vocal about it. My worry is, will they even know how to even use it? We don't know. So when it comes to this running back room, it is a huge, big to be decided. We can project on it. We can say, well, what if so-and-so stays healthy? What if Zeke rushed for 1,300 yards? What if bro, that's a lot of projection that leaves out a ton of context. And I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up y'all. I need to see how they're going to use these dudes come training camp before I start projecting out. Because if they use them like they've been using last year, what?
I think the whole having a 1,000-yard rusher is overrated.
Sure.
You have a couple guys that can get 500 and 600 apiece.
Sure. I don't really care about a 1,000-yard or 1,000-yard rusher. The Cowboys almost had 2 years ago, Zeke and Tony Pollard. If it's used like that, that's perfect,
and then you
right?
let him walk after 13 touchdowns, and you weren't able to replace him.
You didn't replace him. You were able to replace him. You just didn't. That's a you problem.
But you didn't.
You didn't even make an attempt to replace him.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about too was the safety that played linebacker last year. What's his role going to be, and can he be a Brian Branch type of person as far as box safety? Because he did play linebacker last year.
No, Branch is in box safety. Branch lines up in the slot sometimes. He's covering like legitimate wide receivers.
Okay, so he's more of a slot
I don't know
corner.
I wouldn't do that with with
No,
Bell.
I don't think he can cover that well.
Yeah, but Bell's going to move back to safety though, so that gives us more safety depth. That's a good thing.
What's going on with that? Is it Wilson? Carson's not coming back. Is Bell going to outshine Wilson?
No, Wilson is no curse. Wilson's still there. The Cowboys' top 2 safeties would be, or as we speak, and look, I know politics probably played in because of money, are Hooker and Wilson, and then you got Wanye and Bell, and then we'll see what happens with Izzy. I was looking up something the other day. I looked at the last few seasons under Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. They don't carry like 5-6 safeties like that. The Cowboys did because they used 3. Very possible, and Israel Mukuamu does not make this team.
And Wanye, I would think that Wanye Thomas needs to step up and show something too.
I think Wanye did that, but I personally would love to see Wanye compete for a starting spot. That's just me. But I think he makes this team. I think Wanye is one of your better guys in that room.
Alrighty. One last thing, and I'm going to get out of here, bro. Whenever we are talking about the D tackle, are we most specifically referring to the one tech? Because I feel like I feel like he got the 3 tech locked down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by default. The Cowboys the Cowboys have like 4 bodies in that room. And 3 of them are healthy bodies. Well, I guess now they got the young bucks, the rookies. But you technically need depth, period. We mostly talk about one tech. Yeah, well, I'm talking about defense tackle. We mostly talk about one tech because that's the run stopping, and we need run stoppers.
Question mark.
But if you look at the 3 tech room, there's not a lot of depth there. And Osa, I talked about this before too, OT. Osa doesn't necessarily fit with what Mike Zimmer has historically done at the defensive tackle position. But Osa's still going to be your guy. They'll figure it out for this year.
For sure. But he's still a baller. He should be able to figure it out.
Oh, yeah. I don't worry about Osa still going out there and producing. I worry about his long-term future if Mike Zimmer's here. But that's a different story. But beyond Osa, and even with Osa, he's not traditional 3 tech in general, but he's not traditional 3 tech for Mike. Golston is not a defensive tackle anymore. He should be kicking back out. Then you got, we'll see what happens with Daxon, the kid from Syracuse. If he makes the team, he has a chance, and we're going to talk about that again this week.
He has a chance.
The room is light.
They need depth.
Right, the room is light.
You never. If you see some flashes in the preseason or something, everybody's going to start talking. Well, we might need to keep this guy for depth, or we might want to see what he can become in a year or 2.
we need him now, bro. If he show anything,
I know we need now.
We need him now. If he show anything, because the Cowboys have. We'll do a State of the Union probably in a few weeks, but the defensive tackle room is extremely thin.
I agree. But I'm hoping that Mozzie can step up. They said in the little rookie they just seen these guys over the last week or so, and then Mozzie looked like he was putting some weight back on. So I guess that's
not look like the Cowboys have listed him at 328. Was it, Joe?
And he was down to what 270 last year.
Well, he wasn't 270, but he was below 300. Yeah, he was below 300. Yep.
All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I appreciate the call, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro.
Thank you, OT. Appreciate you. Boy, can y'all imagine if Mozzie was? We was talking about 290 Mozzie. If Mozzie was 270 out there, good lord. That'd be crazy. They got Mozzie out there playing linebacker. Yeah, good conversations there, man. But his initial one, what was y'all talking about in here? I'm curious about comparing the Patriots running back room at the time to the Cowboys. I think there's so much more context that needs to be added, and that's one of my mantras here. Context matters. You absolutely can win with the committee. That's not an issue, right? It's about obviously complementing the backfield in that committee, and then the how. And you can't go bar for bar, player for player with the room without talking about the how. And the how is totally different from what the Cowboys do. Tom and that offense featured the running back out the backfield. They designed the offense to get mismatches for James White. And then when they kept it simple, stupid, okay, 3rd and 1, we're going to hand it off to the big boy. Get in the goal line, hand it up, play it. Like it wasn't this complicated scheme, but it was common sense. I don't even know if the Cowboys have a common sense approach to the running back room the last few years. So I do think we do need to add a little bit more context to comparing this room to any room, past, present. There has to be that, and we'll continue to keep talking about it. But I've said it for a long time. Can you do something with this room? Sure. If you get Rico to stay healthy a little bit, you learn how to use Deuce Vaughn. You got Royce Z. Can you? Sure, you can. But you got to tell me how. Because if that don't change, this is already a mid-ish room in general, where the how needs to help it. And if it doesn't, then you can forget about it, in my opinion. Running back by committee doesn't sell jerseys. Well, that shit ain't going to matter because a whole lot of them 15 jerseys are going to be sold. You can best believe that. But I get what you're saying. Greg said, Ozempic Sky, truth is stranger than fiction. So we just having fun a little bit with the Mozzie thing. As I stated during the season, and I never made this, I never tried to go viral with this information that I was told during the season. There is a seriousness to the situation that happened with Mozzie from a mental standpoint, but now it's kind of making its waves over the last few months or weeks or what have you. But I don't play around with the mental stuff, and I'll have fun with everybody having fun with losing weight, but I won't poke fun at the mental side of it. He was struggling with that, and hopefully he's better. He's put on weight. He's put the weight back on. He's up to 328 according to the Cowboys. And I do think he'll have there will be an addition by subtraction with Mozzie Smith. Bringing on Mike Zimmer, I think he will be better equipped for this scheme. And losing Dan Quinn, he was not equipped for that scheme. And I'll just leave it at that. From the mental thing, I'll let everybody else kind of go in on that. I just hope he's better. And his team, I hope his team is there for him as well. Because this life ain't easy. Put that star on. It ain't for everybody. What Hov say? Hollywood, it ain't for everybody. Star in Frisco, basically Hollywood, fam. They'll talk about that with him too, by the way. So, once they get the OTAs and they're able to talk to more of the veterans, I'm pretty sure Mozzie will have words on what happened with them last year, and then we can discuss that. Shouts out to you, Greg. Let's see if we got some super chats. I did see Miss Sheila. I mean, let me give you a clue bomb here. Sheila been a member for 31 months at a Pro Bowl membership. Says, keep doing what you do, Sky, here for the long run. You have been here from day one, Miss Sheila. Thank you for your support. Come on, Big Max. Let's see. Boom. Think we're good. We are good. Shouts out to you, Keystone. I know Big Mac's wilding, man. Big Mac's wilding. Hey, Brother L, you had a comment earlier I was going to get to, but I think I was on the phone. Man, what was it about? Oh, scheme. You mentioned something about if the players were on a different team, would they come in? Not scheme. Would they come in and be able to start when we were talking about Kaylin Carson? He's another guy I ain't ruling out. I do think he has an uphill battle, but I'm not ruling him out being at the very least the fourth corner. And when it comes to Mike Zimmer, bro, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of favoritism in politics. So that's why I was hesitant on the Maris Leofold thing. Yeah, do I think he's starting? When I say not starting, do I think he's starting at the bottom in regards to this list? Sure. But boy, if you go show something, Mike Zimmer don't care. None of these dudes are Mike Zimmer dudes. And then you got guys like Micah and Trey and Deron and D-Law, or that doesn't matter because they are dudes. Demo, Damone. I think he's going to like J. Lou, but that shit don't mean nothing if this kid go out there and look better than J. Lou. And I appreciate that from Mike Zimmer. Toxic, another Pro Bowl member, 24 months. Shouts out to you, bro. Says, hey, Sky, emailed A to Z Sports, won something in a raffle, and would like you to have it. Is there an email I can send you? What's that? I didn't even know there was a raffle thing going on. But you can email me at skywalkerstill@gmail.com, and you can let me know what that is about. But hey, congratulations, man. Nah, brother. Shout out to my bro Twan. He says, Sky, you going to training camp? Go ahead and get an interview with Beebe. So, okay, I won't rule it out. I did kind of rule it out last week. Somebody asked me this. I was like, I don't think I am this year because the newborn, wifey, I want to be here and things like that. But when they come to the Star, when they come to Frisco, I will be out there because that's just right down the street. So I'll be there, and I'll likely be on the field again. And I'll definitely try to rap to BB. I'll try to rap to as many people as I can. The thing is, last year I talked to a number of players, but I just didn't record it. You know, it was just conversation. But this year I'll try to do it as best I can, get some content out of it and whatnot. But I got you. What? You want a chair from Texas Stadium? Oh, I got a bone to pick with the bosses here. I would have put myself in that damn raffle. You kidding me? Brother. So you want a chair from the OG Texas? Look, man, I want you to have that, Toxic. Now we can wrap in the in the email. And I do collect. When I went to WrestleMania and I got the floor seats and they said, hey, these chairs is for you to take. I said, give me these things. And I took my chair. So I don't have it back here, but I used to have the chair on display on my other angle. But man, honestly, brother, though, I would probably give that away to one of you guys too, though. So how about we do that? Let's talk via email, Toxic Tom. We'll come together. We'll do a giveaway for the fans. I don't want that. That's a great gift. I mean, I want it, but that's a great gift. I want to give it to one of you guys that support the show. Let's do that. You brought one of them chairs, Brother L? It's a piece of history. Piece of history. Lambie says, hey, Sky, I think the offensive line is going to be top 3 in rushing. Woo, I love that optimism. Top 3 in rushing, and we're going 13-4. Love the optimism there. 13-4 will be an improvement on the 12-5 the last 3 years. How hilarious is this? 3 years, 5-11. That was the last time we won. 3 years, 8-8. 3 years, 12-5. Boy, this is a strange organization. How will we crack this streak? Will it be the improvement to 12 or 13-4? Or will they slide down 11-5, 10-7? Either way, Lambie, I said this before. I do think the Cowboys will make it to the playoffs. I personally don't care what the record is, and here's why. I'm more infatuated with how the Cowboys are playing leading up to it. And then to be specific on what you said about the run game, definitely looking at that. If the Cowboys run game is giving me confidence, I don't care if they're 10-7. Then once you get to the playoffs, all bets are off because now they are no longer one-dimensional, and they've been one-dimensional for a long time. So even if they're 13-4, bro, and we looking very mid on the ground, I'll have concerns going into the playoffs because you're going to need to be better in that department at some point. May not be week 1. You have a Tampa Bay situation. But at some point, you're going to have to be able to be productive when you hand the ball off in the playoffs. Crack the division title streak. That's the other thing too, right? Like, if I was a betting man, so there'd be two sides. There's a Cowboy fan in me. I feel good about the Cowboys competing for the division. Then there's the betting side of me. I'd bet against that because history has shown there has not been a repeat champion. And last year, the Eagles had it set up. I don't know if it's the football division gods. I don't know. The Eagles had everything handed to them on a platter to win the division. They just needed to win like 2 out of their last 5 games. And they couldn't do it. And the Cowboys leapfrogged them and won the division. So this division's strange, bro. Strange. Well, yeah, Johnny. That's how. And he said that Mike is the only linebacker we use on the D line. Well, yeah, that's how the Dan Quinn decided to use him. Now we'll see how Mike Zimmer decides to use him. If he'll move him around a little bit more, maybe it'll look like what happened in year 1. That's how I think you should use him. Totally different thing, but we'll see. A conversation maybe we'll have this week because there was some audio on Zim talking about Micah in more detail. And it sounds very like he didn't want to reveal too much. And he basically told us what he wanted us to hear. We'll move around and but he got in specifics. I used to like listening to Dan Quinn up until a little bit last year because Dan Quinn would get into the details and nitty gritty of defense. But it started to feel a little fugazi, right? Like Dan was trying to put on this show a little bit. Mike Zimmer don't know how to put on no damn show. So when I was listening to Mike on the Doomsday podcast, he was talking ball. And it was just straight ball. He wasn't trying to use fancy words or use fancy, sayings. He wasn't doing none of that. He was talking ball, and he said some interesting things. And I'm pretty sure it'll get detailed throughout the week. Just listen to a couple of the other podcasts. But if you listen to this one and you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like button on your way out. Go share this thing with your Cowboys friends and family. We are on the road to 26,000, but we're really on the road to 30. But boy, we're about to hit 26K. And I'm just so proud of that. And that we're close. We're 11 subscribers away from 26K. And it just, man, I always say this. I don't often talk about numbers and followers and things like that or subscribers because I'm just all about putting my head down and working and trying to get better. But that is a huge accomplishment given where I was a number of years ago, where this channel was a number of years ago. And I will forever be grateful at where we're at right now. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, Sin City said, I remember when it was the Universe channel. See, that's another day one. DCU. And then we changed it to Cowboys Network, and now somebody else has Cowboys Network. It's strange. But we here now. A to Z Sports Dallas. It's your boy Skywalker Still, morning show. We're trying to make this the best in the land. With that said, we'll press this button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Flagship, baby. That's how I look at it, Tom. I take pride in this thing being the flagship of the channel. 100%. Thank you, Miss Jackie. Thank you, Gregory, AG, Less Toxic, aka Special K, T-Jack, Marcus, Rolo, TC915, Loss, Sin City, DB, Irvin, all y'all. Love y'all to death. We out here. Peace.